Hey guys, it's February 2nd, 2022. I'm Kimberly from Fat Quarter Shop FlossTube, and I'm so excited that our company has two charity cross-stitch alongs going right now, as long as quilt alongs. And so we're going to kind of start off the show talking about two different charities and how you can donate to those charities. Then we're going to move on and talk about the Be Mine stitch along that started yesterday. And I get to show you some of CHERYL'S stitches and lots of other stuff going on. I did want to let you know that next week I will be at a photo shoot in Salt Lake City in 30-degree weather. I'm totally not ready. I don't have the shoes. I don't even have a jacket. I got to figure it out. So because I'm going to be on a photo shoot next week, we're going to have a pre-recorded video that Cheryl and I did where we go to a framer and we just talk about the different options that are available when you go to a framer. And so we will release that as a premiere live video so you can chat and ask questions, and I'm sure Cheryl, since I will be off-site, can answer and help you guys with anything that y'all had questions on. And any of those things in that video, we haven't gotten them back from the framer, but when we do, we will show those on this live stream also. So I'm going to move on, and we're going to first start with the Heartfelt charity stitch along. And I'm going to show it to you all stitched up. So this is the Heartfelt 2022 charity for Make-A-Wish. This is starting on Friday, so in 2 days, and it's going to be a release that goes from February to July. I'm going to pop up the little image right now, and so you can see release 1 is the border, release 2 is the first column, release 3 is the third column, and so on and so forth. Thank you to everyone who has donated so far. We've raised $40,000 that goes directly to Make-A-Wish. And the last month of August, we will focus on finishing. This piece right here was finished by Priscilla Blaine at Stitching with the Housewives. And because next week I'm going to be out of town, I'm going to go ahead and show you my finished border, and then I'm going to show you some different items that we sell to go along with it. And with Make-A-Wish, Kevin and I will be donating $20,000, and Mark Dunn from Moda Fabrics will be donating $10,000. So we're hoping to raise a total of $130,000. So I wanted to talk about how I stitched my borders and give you a couple of tips on it. This fabric right here is 14 count pale gray gingham by Fabric Flair. And one thing that I wanted to show you is if you look at it with no stitches, you see the gingham. As soon as you put the stitches in, the gingham kind of go away, which I think is the beauty and kind of the weirdness of this fabric. I think it's so crazy that it starts out like this, and then you lose some of the design, and then here you can even see the gingham. But it looks way better than if you just did a white. And when you're going to finish this, if you do want to see the gingham, what I would recommend is that you leave a much wider border, because then you will get to see a little bit of the gingham. So my tip on the border is I just started and I went across. When I got to the first little column, I did 1 stitch down, and then I went to the second column, did a little stitch, third stitch, fourth stitch, fifth stitched, and then I double checked my numbers to make sure, and then I counted in between, because right here I did a little stitch, so I counted in between here and here to make sure it was even. From there, what I did is I did this column down, and then I did this column down, and then I kind of looked across to make sure it met and was even, and then I did the same thing on the bottom where I went across and then up, across, up, and then all I had to do was fill in these. But by kind of starting it and just having a little bit of a dip down here, I guess, made sure that I was even across. And counting I really counted and double counted and triple counted. And with this one, I'm stitching with the Aurifil thread box. And Aurifil made this directly for us, so it's only available at Fat Quarter Shop. And this matches the Corey Yoder fabric, A Beautiful Day, that we're using for the quilt version. So there is a quilt version to go with this. So I took this Heartfelt thread, put it in our new little floss box. These are awesome. If you haven't tried them yet, this is awesome because it's pretty, I don't know about durable, but like I have kids and like I can, I don't know, throw it, or, you know, it can fall out of my chair and it's going to stay closed because of the magnet. So I am stitching with Aurifil. There is also a DMC thread back. If you're on more of a budget, we have that available too. So less expensive to do the DMC. With Aurifil, what I like is I don't have to stop and put my DMC on my floss bitties, which takes time. But we did make some floss bitties for this so that if you wanted to use the Aurifil, you could still keep it really cute. And one thing you could do is if you're not using the Aurifil, you could put all your DMC on there and it all fits in here, either horizontal or vertical. Either way, we made sure that it fit. And we wanted it to be budget friendly for whichever budget you are on. And we do ask for a donation to Make-A-Wish for this free pattern. And we're hoping that you can give $20 for the cross stitch pattern. And it again is releasing starting Friday, and then one section a month. Now this bag is so awesome, and this is what I'm going to be putting all of my Be Mine projects in. So when I come back from out of town and show you everything I finished, I'm going to stuff all my bags in here, and then I can show you everything that I've done for that. The pattern is full color, and what you do is you can go to our blog, which is the Jolly Jabber, and you can print out the cross stitch info supply list, and then part 1 is going to release on Friday. It will be on our website, and it will also be on the blog. And what I'm going to do now that I have this done is I'm going to do row 1. And the way that I will work on row 1 is I'll probably do all of, because of the chains on the side, it makes it super easy to know where you're at because you can count. So I'm going to actually do I'll probably start with the very top and do all this dark gray. And then I'll probably do the white last. And then I'll probably start with this pink, and I'll do all this pink here, wherever that pink is. And then I'll just kind of, so I'm definitely going to do this by color, and I'll just start and go to the bottom. If you have any questions on the fabric or anything, let me know. The gingham should be in stock any day. We will check on it with our accounting department, but it should be back in stock any day. I didn't even know it was out. And I think that a pale gray might work, but you just have to be careful whichever grays that you use won't get lost, because the pale gray might get, your border right here might get lost in it. So I would just be really careful. Can Kimberly show how to use the cross stitch key ruler and measuring to the corner? Yes. So what I did, now on this one thing that I did do that I think is pretty important is I put the word top here. Now, technically, if you look at it here or here, they're the same because the stitches go the same way. But I did want to mark the top just so if I, came back to it, I would know, okay, it just makes it easy. So for here, now you can use our cross stitch calculator online, but I cut this one big enough to have 2 inches all the way around. So you just put your little corner here, and if you've cut your fabric 2 inches, you start right here. Now I just started somewhere in between the two. And so there is about 2.5, and then if I go to the bottom corner, it's probably a little bit less. So I do try to leave 2 inches all the way around. The finishing will be released at the end. And for finishing, we're gonna probably do no tutorial on it. We're just gonna talk through what Priscilla did. And on the pattern, we have listed what Priscilla used to finish it. We're not gonna do like a separate video. The Heartfelt yardage should be in stock this week. It was supposed to ship Monday or Tuesday, but I don't know if it shipped yet, but it should be any day. Faye is asking, I have the 14 and 16 count pale gray gingham and the color is different. They both say pale gray gingham, but the 16 is gray and the 14 looks more taupe. Is that normal? No, that's not normal. So I'm not sure what happened there. You might want to email elva@fatquartershop.com because I'm not sure. They should be the same. Would I be willing to do an Instagram post comparing the different beige tones of Ada next to each other? Yes, we can schedule that in a couple of weeks. And what we can do is just kind of like we did with the bolt photo, we can just lay out a couple of grays of Witchell and just put the names on it or something like that. So that's a great idea. This finishes at 123 by 127. And please donate to Make-A-Wish. We have our charity link below. So that's our first charity event. So Heartfelt benefiting Make-A-Wish, trying to raise $100,000. The pale gray gingham will be in stock on Friday. So we're gonna actually just go ahead and put that in stock on Thursday night so that it's in stock before we release it. So that's our first charity event. Our next charity event is donating money for UNCF, and there are 2 colorways of Stronger Together. I think I have this upside down. So we worked with Cheryl Spain to design a quilt, and now that we are working on cross stitch, we are kind of, if we're doing anything charity, we try to do it for both so we can raise more money. We have raised a little bit over $6,700. Kevin and I are going to donate $7,000, and this celebrates Black History Month, which is February. This is completely free, and this came out earlier this week. So unlike Heartfelt, where it comes out in sections, this came out for free all at once. And we do ask for a donation of $15 to UNCF, and there's a direct link to our donation page. And what we've done here, which is really great, is we've given you 2 colorways and 2 different colorways. So we've got subtle and striking, and we have a bio on Garrett Morgan, which we talked about. There's a great quilting video that we did on our quilting channel 2 Fridays ago, and we talk a lot about the contribution Garrett made and a lot about the kind of the design inspiration behind this. So this is the subtle sample. It was stitched by Cheryl with the called for floss and fabric. Now on both, and then this one was stitched by Terry. Now what we did is we took this brand new Stronger Together cross stitch display. It's a wooden piece. It's 2 pieces. So the bottom piece is wooden and the top piece is wooden. We painted them, and on the bottom we put a fabric down, and we just glued it. We used Mod Podge to put it on. And these are both art gallery fabrics because that is what the quilt was originally designed in. And this is the subtle colorway, and this is the striking colorway. So we have the free pattern that came out earlier this week. It's available on our website and blog. We have a thread pack that you can pick from, and these are all colors that go along with the quilt. The quilt was originally designed with art gallery fabrics, and so you can tell these are very modern threads. And we stitched this on 14 count Ada by Fabric Flair. The color is Waxing Moon Dyed Effect. So it's got kind of a mottled look. And it's really interesting how when you look at it here, it's so dark. And once you get the thread on there, your fabric takes on, your cross-stitch cloth takes on a slightly different effect. And thank you to Chantel for designing these for us. We wanted something that y'all could use. And what you could do, this is glued down on top. But you could, I mean, you could try to do magnets. It might be a little bit harder because of the 3D effect of it. So I'm not sure if you want to do that. Now what I'm doing is, out of these two, I like this one the best. So if I take this one away, I really liked this blue. So what I decided to do was try to figure out how I could make this match kind of the colors in my house. And so what I did is I wanted to do different blues. So I just picked 4 different blues and I wrote it in my little book, and I'll kind of show you. These are all NPI floss. It is, let's see, number 25. And I did the same thing here, top, so I would know when I came back where to start. And then I just picked 4 different blues, and then these are going to be what the goal is. So we're going to pop up that image real quick. There's an image with dates that we have on our blog, and we're dividing this throughout February. So this week, your goal is to do the outside border, which I already did. Then next week is to do the 4 corner blocks. And then from there to do these blocks. And those are called texture and legacy blocks. And so if you're going to sew along with us, those are the dates. I decided to do something totally different. So I picked an 18 count white petty point on gray. It's by Zweigart. These are tiny stitches. And this is the first time I've ever stitched 1 over 1. So we're going to zoom in. This is 1 thread. So yeah, 1 strand of floss over 1 square. And that's the only way I could get it to look good. With 2 strands, it was very puffy. And I think it's really cute. And then what I've done is I've picked what colors I'm going to use for each block. But on the zigzag, I put to be determined because it's, I want to really see how these blocks on the outside form before I decide what I'm going to do in the center. And I'm almost thinking I might pull in an NPI white if it becomes too strong, so that the center zigzag, it might be a little too strong with too many blues. So I might pull in a white for the green part. And so this is how I'm going to be supporting Stronger Together. And I'm also going to be donating $7,000 to UNCF. And you don't need to send a proof of donation. We're just doing this out of the kindness of our heart. We have lots of charities we're going to be working with this year to donate to. And so these are just the first 2. I mean, we're already February 1st, so we've already raised, I guess if you take that, that would be like $47,000. So we're always trying to do something really good at Fat Quarter Shop. So, and this fabric has been fun to work with. These little, I did get a question on if these dots, it's raised on top of the fabric. And someone asked me if it was hard to stitch through, and it's not. It hasn't been difficult. It's just takes more time, and it's been, I will say, the benefit of working with the 1 strand. Now I did use a size 28 bow and needle, because you really have to use a tiny needle when you're working with 18 count. But one thing that I did really like when I was working with the 1 strand on the 18 count was my thread did not get twisted, because it's not 2 strands, so they can't get twisted together. So that was nice. My colors are NPI 485, 482, $4.93 and $5.61. And one thing you could do with this is if you're already in our NPI club, you can just use some of your packs and combine it together. Or if you're in our Classic Colorworks club, you could also do that. And I put these on my Stitchy Floss Bitties, and there's 4 different designs, so I just used 4 different designs just so I could have cute stuff in my bag. And this only took me 2 hours, so that's pretty cool. I did not use the pin stitch. I have tried, and I think it's fine to just, what I did is I just sewed over my previous stitches, which took me a little bit longer than doing the loop method, and that's okay. So those are our first 2 items. Now we're going to move to the Be Mine Stitch Along. And the Be Mine Stitch Along is a way for us to just celebrate Valentine's Day or Galentine's Day, either one, throughout the month of February. We're on day 2, so day 1 of Be Mine was the small right here in February calendar crates. To see a complete list of everything I'm stitching, watch FlossTube 146, New Stitch Along and Cross Stitch Whips and Finishes, and that's going to show you everything that I have planned for Be Mine. What you want to do is follow us on Instagram and Facebook every day throughout February. We will post 1 photo every day of my progress for that day. Our Instagram is FQSX Stitch, and our Facebook is also FQSX Stitch. And yesterday on Stitchy Talk, so this is day 1, and then tune in later today and you'll see day 2. And this one didn't take me very long. It probably took me like 2 or 3 hours. Yesterday on Stitchy Talk, now Stitchy Talk is where the first Tuesday of every month, I just get on the FlossTube channel and just sit and chat with you guys and stitch while I'm chatting. And I showed tips yesterday on how to stitch on this 10 count vintage cloth by Lori Holt. And this is my February 14th project. But on Stitchy Talk, I did the center, and I thought, you know what? Oh, I also wrote the top here, but I think my stitch came out. Where's my top? Where did my thing go? I think it fell out. Oh, maybe I pulled it out when I was done. So what I went ahead and did is right after Stitchy Talk, I just went ahead and finished this so that my February 14th would already be finished. And what we're going to do is Denise is going to fully finish this so that that photo on February 14th won't be unfinished, it'll be finished. And all the information on how we're finishing is available, sorry, on the Jolly Jabber right now already. So I hope that you're going to be stitching along with us on the Be Mine Stitch Along. We will have some really awesome Valentine stitches to show you in addition to ours on February 16th because Cheryl started some new charts that just came into the shop. So I can't show you next week, which would be before Valentine's Day, because I think I'm actually going to be on a plane next Wednesday morning. So I will show you on February 16th all of my stuff, and I'll have tons of inspiration from Cheryl and tons of fun stuff. Now with this one, just so you know, this star is the center of Flea Market baskets. And the goal of this whole Barn Sweet Barn stitch along is to show you how you can take anyone's designs and make it totally different. And I've already bought this pattern. I'm already using this pattern, and I came up with the idea because I made the star and I was like, oh my gosh, this star is so cute. I want to make this star. So I have January and February done, and we will be on our blog listing the colors for the month at the very beginning of the month. So I got that done. So I've got 2 finishes for Be Mine. And now we're going to move to 2 Lori items. The first one is Flea Market baskets, which is the same design that I just showed you. And I'm going to show you, and I'm showing you a little bit early because I'm going to be out of town. So I am using the Flea Market Baskets Floss Keeper, which is really helping me because there are so many colors in this. I really needed something like this. I'm going to pop up the image of how we broke down the sew along, just in case you want. Now, any kind of sew along, these are just things to set goals so that you can stitch a little bit each month. Several of you have already stitched the whole thing. So I think that's amazing because this is going to be a long one to stitch. I'm stitching on 25 count Cloud by Lugana. So this is 25 count Lugana. It's going to finish pretty big at almost 15 inches square. I am, like I showed you, using the called for floss, which is DMC, and I have it carded on my Flea Market Baskets Floss Keeper. If you want to see an Aida recommendation, I would use Antique White by Witchell. And now I really want to show you some tips on working with this. So we're going to zoom in just a little bit, and I'm going to show you some tips. When I started this, so this is January, this is February, and this is March. And again, March is going to be this inner gingham. And as you can see, that's a ton of stitching. So what I did was, for February, which was this part, the easiest way to stitch that was I did the inner, and then I stitched the 4 corners of stars, and then I did the outer stitches. And then I went by color. So if I stitched like this, I kind of just started here and did these colors, and then if I could, I would fill it in other places. So going by color was really helpful for February. But for March, I've never done something like this where it's gingham. So I decided to go ahead and kind of work on it a little bit because I know I'm going to be going to Salt Lake City. I'm going to have less time to stitch this month. So what I came up with, actually I think I have it turned. Yeah, what I think I came up with is, let me see, maybe not, maybe I have it right. I'll have to figure it out later. The easiest way to do the gingham, because it's so easy to get off stitches, what I found is if you outline the little point and then fill in. So you can see I kind of started. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go and outline the very outside stitches only throughout the whole thing. And then I'm going to fill in, because then I know that if I go all the way on the outside, I will know that all I have to do is fill in and my outside stitches won't be off. And if I get off on a stitch, it's going to be on the inside. This took me 8 hours to do all of this and this. So this probably will take me, I would say probably 8 to 10 hours. It's a lot of stitching because it is all filled in. So even this white is filled in. Oh, Lori says my Flea Market baskets looked beautiful. Thank you. Thank you so much, Lori. I think I forgot to to text her a photo of it, but it looks great. It's going to be a beautiful piece. And then in April, we do 3 baskets in April, and what I'll do is I'll do 1 a week. And these will, when I do the 1 a week, I'll probably start this outside gingham also. And this one one thing I forgot to say is I've already outlined kind of the bottom. Not all the way, but at least with 1 color. So at least the bottom is kind of, maybe go around the bottom, get your bottom down, and then outline the outside. I guess my biggest fear anytime I'm cross stitching, especially with Lugana, I'm not as worried about it when I work on Aida because I am just, used to doing Aida. My biggest fear when I'm working with Lugana is getting the stitches off. Okay, somebody wants to see the back. And I'm not carrying from block to block. I'm going around, and you can see, oh, this is my extra thread. So if I have an extra thread, I just leave it on there so I can find it. So I guess we can zoom in right here so you can see, but if you, I guess I went from here to here to here, but when I fill in the white, you can see it better in person. I am just jumping from, yeah, there, you can see it right there. I'm just going from white to white to white. So I am carrying over between the ginghams, but I'm doing all of the medium color first. So if you do all the medium, when you carry from one to the other, you're not going to see it because you're doing it behind stitches you've previously done. This one I'm stitching by holding it in my hand. So what I'm doing is rolling up the sides, clipping it, and just stitching in hand. And I do stitch, I have a question from Sean, I do stitch when I fly, and we'll take a photo since I'm flying. I'm not going to fly until late Sunday night, like I don't think we get on the plane till 8 o'clock. So we'll post a photo like Monday, or I mean we might post it late at night, but we'll see. I do stitch on the plane. I stitch everywhere. I stitch in the car wash. You can look on Kimberly's Stitch Squad and see if there's 2 minutes of time in the car wash, you're not driving, you're on neutral, you can stitch. I stitch anytime I have a second, and I literally mean a second. If I have a minute, I'm gonna stitch because I have a lot to do and I have to get it done, and I don't have a person behind me like just stitching for me, so I have to do it. The next Lori item that we're going to show is Vintage Housewives. We have a pop-up of this one also that shows the dates. And so you can see we're doing each square as a month. May is the apron, which is quite large, and then we're doing the border November and December. So I'm going to show you how I am working on mine. So here's the pattern. Here's my stitch. Oh my gosh, it looks so pretty. And there's also a floss keeper for Vintage Housewives, and I'm just using the called for DMC. Now when I'm using a color and I've used part of the skein, I just keep it right next to it. So these are like my leftovers, and then that way right here you can see you just grab from the smaller one that you have on there. So there's plenty of room for it to fit 2 different ones on there, and it's very sturdy, and so it's, even though I've got a lot going on, it's not gonna go away. The one thing I think I'm gonna do different is I think I'm actually gonna label the colors on the front so I can enjoy the front more. That's the only thing I would do different. This took me about 5 hours. So what I've decided to do on mine is to stitch that month and also stitch the gingham around it. So in March, when I stitch my room, I will stitch my kitchen block. I'll stitch the room, I'll stitch the gingham, and that will be March. So that when I get to the end, I won't have to do November and December, hopefully. Now, of course, my life might go haywire. I might get behind. So I might have to use November and December, but if I can keep up with it, it just saves me time. That will give me time to get it framed so that it's done at the end of the month. Now, the one thing I wanted to talk about are the apron ties. So like I said, I will be stitching the gingham all the way around and the room. The apron right here is really large, and that is for April. So in April and July, the great thing is there's no gingham to stitch. But this is a lot of stitching for 1 month. So what I'm hoping to do is in March is to finish this, because I'm already showing you February, so I'm a little bit ahead since it's only February 2nd. And I got ahead just because I know I'm going to be out of town, and a lot of dance conventions are about to come up, and my life is about to be zero leftover time for me. So I'm going to stitch March, and my goal is to at least do the top of the apron across, and then when I'm doing this month, can I see the pop-up again of the dates? This is actually May. Yeah, this is actually May. Okay. So actually I'm going to try to do this in March, the top, and then April will be here, the gingham and this. And then I'll probably like at least outline it or at least start it somehow so I'm not overwhelmed in May. And the floss for flea market baskets is in 2 weeks. There is one DMC color that we are sold out of. So if you need to buy it, you can buy all the other colors. There's only one that we're sold out of. We do have the floss keepers until they sell out. They're going to be a product that we do once and then move on to the next one. And when I'm finished with a project, what do I do with all of the thread on the floss keeper? I'm probably going to just leave it on the floss keeper, and that way if I need it, I can just pull it off. I haven't really finished a project, so I don't know yet. For all of the charity donations, all you have to do is go to our blog or our website to the product, and we have the donation links on there. We do not accept company matches because we already donate so much money already to charities. But at our company, we do lots of things like food drives for the local food bank, and we do charity events at work just separately. So we do lots of charity stuff. So that is number 2 of Lori's. And then I'm going to answer a couple of questions and then take a break and then come back. The chicken salad simple shapes should be here by Friday or Monday. And crafting a plan life, all you have to do for the size of the needle is go to our cross stitch calculator. Everything there is there for size, needles, everything. A pin stitch, Yvonne, is a stitch where you stitch and it anchors your stitch, and it's, I would just look it up maybe on YouTube. It's confusing to me. But it's a way to anchor your threads, and a lot of people do it when they are working with one strand. And Faye, you can send those photos to Elva. The zippy bags from Lori Holt will be back in stock March. And yes, so those are all the questions that I have for now, and I'm going to take just a little tiny break. Hey guys, so I wanted to show you next my fall on the farm, and this one I will say I have loved this idea that I came up with, and I'm definitely going to do this more in the future. I have loved working on something for 2 hours a week, because, okay, so let's go to the top camera. What I decided to do on Fall on the Farm, which is a 9-part series by Little House, is work on it 2 hours a week, so that I don't feel like I have to finish the entire room all at once. So if you're looking at this, you will notice that I accidentally did these 2 frames incorrectly. It should be like this with the hole. It's basically the same thing, except there's a little hole right here in between a couple of stitches. So you know what? I decided I'm gonna leave it. I called Lori and she was like, "You're crazy, leave it." So I'm leaving it. I always listen to Lori. So this week I got all of this done in 2 hours, which I thought was kind of a lot. I was actually really impressed. Now we're gonna zoom in right here. I don't know if you're gonna be able to see it. I am stitching on this on 16 count beautiful beige. And on the pattern, these are French knot eyes. Okay, I'm not doing French knot eyes. So I actually thought it was a stitch. So I just stitched the eye in black so that I don't have to come back later and add that eye. So this week, so this is a total of 10 hours of working on it. This week, what I will do is I'm going to stitch 2 hours. So I'll probably start at the bottom of the house and start outlining. And you'll see a photo of what I'm able to do this week. And then I'll take this with me and stitch it 2 more hours in Utah. And then next time you see it, I'm sure this will all be done. And once that's done, I'm going to have to guess what color the next ones are and start doing the frames. And this is part 2. Part 3 has not been released yet, and I don't think that she's even shown a photo of it yet. So I haven't seen part 3 yet. But I did notice some things that I thought would be really fun to show you. So what Diane recommends is that you just finish your piece with the frames and you don't have an outside border. Because she, you can read her exact words, but I'm paraphrasing. She said something like she thought it looked good with just the frames. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to do mine just like this. I'm not adding anything to it because I think it's pretty cute. And it's going to be a nice companion to Vintage Farmhouse Christmas, which I just completed last year. These are the same exact fabrics that I'm stitching on. They look different, but it's the light, it's the glass, it's the glare of the light, but it's the same exact fabric. And in person, you can tell it's the same. But what I wanted to show you is, if you look here at this border, right here, it's the same as right here. So, because it's the same, you're the same size. So I have seen a pop-up of Holly Nielsen showed that she used the same, she is going to go ahead, so she already did all her frames and she has already added the outside border. So I just wanted to show Holly Nielsen's idea because I thought it was awesome idea. And if you look, she's used this same free border and just used her own threads from this. So she just took threads from here and used it on the outside border. And that's Diane's design. So that's an awesome idea. And she did you can see that she did hers correctly, unlike me. So Holly, great idea. I think that's great. And it looks great. I mean, she just probably put some oranges. Now, what I would do is if you have questions on her colors, find her on Facebook and ask her, because I don't know all her colors she used. But I'm just trying, I always want to give you ideas and think of ways you can make your piece unique. So that was one idea, is to make the mistake and just sew your, okay, so the first idea is to do it correctly, just like it is. The second idea is to do the frames all incorrect. The third idea is to put Farmhouse Christmas around the edge. The fourth idea is from Vonna Pfeiffer. I saw this on Facebook. Vonna Pfeiffer is from The Twisted Stitcher. She has a blog, and she released a free Fall on the Farm border frame that surrounds just like this. So she designed one. I'm going to refer you to her blog, and all you have to do, I put her name right there on the image, and you can just type her name just like you see it, and Twisted Stitcher just like you see it, and she has a whole page on Fall on the Farm. So now you have 4 options on how to finish Fall on the Farm. And we do have a video where I changed some of my colors on this. So that's also another idea. Oh, Lori said she told me that the borders on each block look like cute little fences. I don't even remember her telling me that because I have a horrible memory, but if Lori says it's good to go, I'm ready to go. I trust Lori on everything. Like I know she's going to tell me the truth. She's going to tell me if it looks bad. So she said it looked good. I'm going to go with it. And so that is Fall on the Farm. And we're going to move to some of CHERYL'S stitches for the week. I think you guys are going to love this. So this is called Big Hearted Tiny Town. It's a brand new pattern that came out earlier in January by Heart and Hand. It actually, like, this is really the design here. So what Cheryl did, she's using the same colors for thread. So she's using all the called for classic color works and Weeks dye works. But she's stitching this on 32 count powder pink splash. And we do have that in stock. And what she'll do, I'm assuming, oh, well now I know what she's doing. Okay, we're gonna zoom out. Haha, we just found out. She's stitching over here. And then I guess we'll have to ask her, does she cut it out after? So she's not, and you can see the hoop she's using. She's using the, this looks like the Spring Tension hoop by Frank Edmonds. So she uses Frank Edmonds hoop on Even Weave. And this is a new design by Primrose Cottage Stitchery, and she's going to do a bunch of them, and we're going to show them all to you next time when she has them all done. So this is, I don't know how she stitches with this big of a piece in her hand, but she does. So she, gets the most use out of it. So cute. And when she finishes this one, she'll let us show you too. That's a nice little surprise. And it's much pinker in person than, it's showing a little bit whiter on the screen, but it is much more pink in person. And I think it's amazing that she's using the called for on pink and it still looks good, because I would have never thought to put these pink and red threads on a pink fabric because I would think it would clash, but it doesn't at all. It looks great. So those are CHERYL'S, and we're going to have a lot more from Cheryl next time. Terry also has a whip to show, or actually it's finished. It's just not fully finished. This is Sugar Stitches, and they have really cute stitches, and they have a series that's January through December. And they're pretty big. The stitch count is 117 by 111. And so she stitched hers on 25 count prim. This is a Lori Holt fabric. She stitched with 2 strands over 2 squares, and she converted her colors to NPI. I think she was trying to keep the colors the same, but just use NPI. Terry just loves NPI, and she loves the way it stitches. So her goal was to just stitch with thread she likes, but keep the same colors. So that's super cute. And then I'll show you the back. So really nice. The next thing I wanted to show you was, if you go to our quilting channel, which is Fat Quarter Shop YouTube, we were lucky enough to have Gina Tell come and do a video on how to cover Lori Holt's planner. And last night, so this video came out yesterday. Last night I got on Facebook and I was like, this is a great idea. So this is my cross stitch journal that I use all the time. And someone within like 3 hours of the video coming out already covered their cross stitch journal. So I'm gonna have Gina make me one for my journal. I'm so excited. So I actually didn't think that you could cover something this small with this, but you can. So I'm so excited, but I do want to direct you over to our quilting channel. This is Gina Tell from Thread Graffiti. And one of the things I have been doing is I've been putting a big paper clip here. So when I come to that page, I don't have to, like, you know, I don't know if that makes sense, but I don't have to worry. I don't have to flip to the day. I'm already on the day. And then when it goes bigger, I'll probably have to get one of those bigger clips. And then I'm going to show you some new stuff, and then I will, of course, answer all questions. We have some new PDFs by Stitching with the Housewives. This is To the Moon and Back, and so I will be stitching this as part of Be Mine. And today they came out with Shamrock Farm. Now I'm going to tell you, I don't decorate for St. Patrick's Day, but this is darn cute. So I'm trying to just not have to stitch this, but I might end up having to stitch all these green things. And I am just trying to fight off the resistance because I'm not a fan of green. And I want to know, do any of you decorate for St. Patty's Day? Are you going to stitch these? I mean, I don't know. Priscilla and Chelsea, y'all got to stop coming out with so many cute things, because then I can't say no, and then I'm just adding and adding and adding. So at some point, I have to stop. When that's going to be, I don't know. So these are the first two things. The next item is a pop-up image, and I'm showing you this week because next week I'm going to be out of town. Priscilla and Chelsea came up with this great idea. They're going to have 3 charts. This first chart is called Home is Where the Wreath Is. It is going to be shipping to our customers next week. We're pre-selling it, and we're pre-selling a ton of them. So you want to make sure you order yours now so that it doesn't sell out before the pre-sales finish. And what this is there are 4 different pieces. The second piece is meant to interchange. And in March, Priscilla and Chelsea will have a pattern called Wreath Swap 1 that will have 6 wreaths you can swap the O out with. Now, if you want to see more about this, I would refer you to their channel. They did give some little behind the scenes sneak peeks on there so that you can see that. Now, of course, you could make this with just the home. You can do the first 6 wreaths, so February is this pattern. March is Wreath Swap 1, and then Wreath Swap 2 is April. And it cracks me up because as soon as I heard them say this, I was thinking of the TV show Wife Swap. And I was like, what? I was like, did they get this from Wife Swap? Because I don't know if y'all have ever seen that show, but it's hilarious. And they do have this, the photo below it is Plaid Farmhouse, which is their It's So Emma pattern using their fabric. So that's totally awesome. So you can pre-buy that today and it can ship next week. The next one is called Carrot Cake Stitching, and this is similar to the gingerbread cookies, and this is really cute. So I'm definitely going to stitch this, so I've got to actually get on. I got to go pre-buy it, but I'm definitely going to make this. And this one has a finishing on the board by 141 141 Design Company. So we're going to try to buy those from her to sell. And you paint the little pieces. And Kevin loves carrot cake. Actually, no, Kevin doesn't love carrot cake. I love carrot cake. So I think our wedding, One of our wedding cakes was carrot cake. So I'll have to make it, and then I'll have to see if he even remembers that. I don't think he knows. One funny story from my wedding is I had a I was not a bridezilla, but I did fire my first cake lady and then replaced her because I was like, I need a fancier cake. So, and that was actually a surprise to him because I did a whole huge UT tower that stood up. Now, of course, only the bottom was cake, but I think he was quite shocked. And then he was like, how much did that cost? That's ridiculous. That's stupid. Anyway, the next thing I want to show you is Blackbird. Oh, sorry. Blackbird Designs has a new collection that's coming out in April. And Moda made some of these thread keeps. And we have them, but we basically bought everything they had. So once they're gone, they're gone. So I think this is going to be kind of a hot item. It can be used with any pattern that has 8 flosses. Now you could number them on the back or the front. And this is like a really, really thick cardboard. So it will bend, unlike, Lori's doesn't bend. So it's not plastic. They're very inexpensive, but I just wanted to show you this before the fabric comes out because I think that this is going to sell out before the fabric arrives. The next item that's new is called Light Basalt Splash. It's a Zweigart fabric, and we got this in 14 count. And the next few pieces I'm showing you we got because Cheryl wanted them, so she'll eventually stitch on them. This one is 25 count light powder pink splash. So, there's a bunch of them. So this is light powder pink, and these are similar to the one I just showed you. This is powder pink. This is the same one she stitched her sample on. This is 32 count. This is Basalt Splash 32 count. Oh, she's gonna stitch something big. Mint Splash. The same one that I showed you earlier, but in 32 count, Light Basalt Splash. So these are the 32 count. This is 25 count. And 14 count. And I'm going to show you her sample again, just so you can see. One thing that has been hard for me as a cross stitcher to like really kind of get used to is when you stitch on something, it looks totally different. So this is what she's stitching this on. And it looks the same, but it kind of doesn't, if that makes sense. You kind of lose the design. So sometimes I'll think, oh, I don't want to stitch on this. The design is too strong. But in the end, it's probably not, because your eye, when you're looking at this, goes straight here. I want to make like these colors are awesome. I want to just make a quilt out of these colors. This next one, Cheryl also wanted us to get. This is Edinburgh linen, 36 count, raw linen with white mini dots. And it's a pretty big piece of fabric. It's a 1 yard piece, 1 yard by 55 inches. So it's expensive, but you can make a lot of things out of it. We also got some new designs by Hands On Design, and she will have more also at Market. That is called Needlework Market. It's in March. It's actually on my birthday, so we're going to have lots of new things then too. This is a waffle lot. 17th. I think that's the name. And then this one, I think we're going to sell a ton of these. So this is called Let's Talk Quilting. And this is the same pattern, that we also sell to turn, there's a little bonus chart in here you can put in here for the bag, and there's also a Let's Talk Stitching that we have. So this one I am definitely going to add to my Mania rotation. So I'm definitely going to make this one. I still also want to make the stitching one, so I'm not sure why I haven't made that one yet, but I'm definitely going to make this one. And I will probably change some of the colors. I'm not sure, like this green, I'll probably make these aqua. So definitely going to add this to Mania. And then now I'm going to answer all you guys' questions and chat a little bit. So, oh my gosh. Okay, so for St. Patty's Day, 66% say they do not decorate. Thank you to all of you who voted. I'm going to ask that question next year after, because I'm not sure if Priscilla and Chelsea are going to have a lot of St. Patty's Day designs or just one. So I'm going to see. I'm going to try to resist. I want to say thank you to all the super chats who have come in. Starlight Stitching Company said, thank you for everything you do to share and inspire others. You're amazing. Thank you. And then hello from Central Pennsylvania, Donna Marie Alpa. Okay, I bet it's like 20 degrees there. Can y'all tell I'm nervous to go to Salt Lake City? I don't have any clothes. Like, I don't have any pants that are thick enough. I don't know what I'm going to do. I'm going to freeze. I'm just going to run. I'm not going to go outside at all. And then thank you to Patty Weissoric for her super chat. And then I'm going to answer any questions you have. Kelly is asking how Piggy is. Oh my gosh, he's good. But we have this new dog. Okay, so this is the weirdest thing ever. These people have been building a house by us for 2 years. Over 2 years. Like, come on. The house doesn't need to take 2 years to build. So it's been like construction after construction after construction. Well, they apparently, because my neighbor next door, he's very in the know of everything in the neighborhood, so he tells me everything. And apparently they live in the neighborhood. But they haven't moved in the house, but the dog has moved in the house. It's the weirdest thing. So it's okay, what was it? A bulldog? American bulldog or something like that. So Piggy's going nuts because there's this dog, and he doesn't want to stay inside. He just wants to stay outside, and he just sits by the fence now and just barks at that dog. Okay, it's a little bitty pug and this big, huge dog, and Piggy thinks he's gonna like attack him, and I think it's hilarious. So he's been not actually that great. My birthday is March 7th. Is there a way to tell the right side of Ada? I don't think there's a right and wrong side. Unless you have it screen printed like fabric flare, then it'll just be obvious. If it's just the same color, I think it's the same on either side. Now, Lori does have one fabric called Oatmeal where one side is modeled and one side is not. And it's pretty easy to tell. Lori says, oh, Lori loves Terry's Prim Lugana stitch. Yes, it does. It does look amazing. Chris is asking what made me decide to switch from a Q-snap to a hoop. So for the linen, for the two things. So for linen, I really had no idea where to start. And so I took Cheryl's recommendation for that. For the 10 count, I already had the hoop out, and I kind of got rid of my Q-snaps, but a Q-snap would work fine. Is there going to be a floss pack for carrot cake? Sure, we can do that. We will place the order today and see. I mean, it does depend on if we can get the floss, but we'll try to. There is a pre-sale for the wreath patterns. Now, the subsequent wreath swap 1 and wreath swap 2, we will pre-sell those once we get permission from Priscilla and Chelsea and we get the image from them. Glitter Village question. Is there a right wrong side to Belfast raw silver linen? Mine arrived and it's gorgeous, but I wondered with the silver specs. I don't think so. I just picked any side. So I don't think there's a right and wrong side. What 14 or 16 count Ada do I suggest for vintage housewives? Antique white. And Kathleen, our cross-stitch calculator is on our site, and it is a great way to, it will tell you, we get a lot of questions on this channel about what size do I cut my fabric? What size does it finish at? It's going to answer all of that. It's going to answer what size needle you need, all of the things that we get asked over and over. Mary, you can't buy the thread pack and the floss keeper with the basic floss. You can't do that, but you could buy everything one by one because we do sell the thread keep separately. What does Kimberly write in the notes section of the cross stitch journal? So I usually write anything that's different than my normal thing. So if I'm stitching with one strand, if I'm stitching with a different needle, if I'm using a certain type of floss biddies, anything like that, anything different from my normal routine. Lori said, Kimberly, you've been here several times in the winter. You will not freeze. It's warm in my house. I know. I hope I just don't trip going in your house. Oh my gosh, it's 20 degrees. Did you see? It's like the high of, I don't know, like 20 degrees. I don't know that I've been in 20 degrees. Like that's a little much. Chris is asking, can we carry the new display boards from 141 Designs? They are very reasonably priced. So what we're going to do is anything they have that's Priscilla and Chelsea, we're going to carry. And then we'll talk to her about maybe what her best-selling ones are, and we'll keep kind of a limited selection. Fall on the Farm will look fine on 14 count beautiful beige. Will I be getting more splash fabrics in 14 count? One more. They don't make a lot in 14 count. Do I anticipate any openings coming up for Nutcracker Village Cross Stitch Club? Or do I need to order everyone separate? Order everyone separate because the club is now closed and we limit the number of clubs based on the number of floss we can get. Kimberly, will you do a video on how to do a neater back on our stitch cloth? I would watch all of my Stitchy Talks because I kind of show that there. I don't know if I'll do a standalone video on that, but maybe one day. Will there be a Blackbird design cross stitch for the threads that bind? I haven't seen one, so I don't know. I don't know if they will be at Needlework Market also, so I'm not sure. I don't know the answer to that. But I do want to thank all of you for spending your Wednesday morning with me. I've had so much fun. Remember, I'm not going to be here next Wednesday, but I will have a video. So come and support me there. Make sure to give this video a like, and I'll be back in 2 weeks with a ton of stitching. So I got to get ready. I got to get my fingers ready to stitch all the stuff, and I'll be back in 2 weeks. See you then.